Hi. People that have subscribed to me have seen me in all kinds of conditions and everything and know this and that about me, but they don't know some things about me. And after watching another YouTuber's video telling things that nobody really knew before about them, I will do the same. When I was born, the tops of my feet were almost touching the fronts of my legs, so my feet had to be stretched and almost broken. I had to wear special shoes. By the time I was 9 years old, I had developed lordosis and scoliosis real bad. Lordosis is the curvature of the spine from front to back. Your stomach hangs out and your butt hangs out. And scoliosis is an S curvature of the spine. And this is what I had to wear. I had to wear a Milwaukee brace. It's 20 pounds of leather and metal. It was like a contraption, like a walking traction contraption. And I must have weighed all of maybe 80 pounds at that time. So 20 pounds carrying that around on me was a lot. I wore it for 3 years solid, could only take it off to take a bath or go swimming. At first I took a lot of baths. And you couldn't eat like you normally eat because you throw it back up because it just held you all in like a giant oppressive girdle. This is my heritage, basically. My maternal side, my mom, her mother was Swedish. Her grandparents came over from Stockholm. The last names in that family are Larson and Mattsson. And she married a guy of Germanic heritage, last name Hornberger. And somewhere in there, his mother's maiden name was B-O-V-E. It's either Bovie or Bove. It could be French, it could be Italian, and I don't know. I tried looking it up. There is someone from around Strasbourg, Germany, which was France at the time, that moved down to Calabria, Italy, named Bove. So I have no idea. On my dad's side, his mom was from the Czech Republic, around Prague, and the last name was Chastek. And my grandfather's family was Bohemian, which is an area that it's a country that no longer exists, but basically Czech Republic as well, sort of. The different dialect. Last name there is Holech and Pell. So that's my heritage that I know of. I try looking further, and my mother says, "What do you want to do that for?" And the reason she says that is that my mother has some issues. She was alcoholic, and she'd sit and smoke and drink, so most of my childhood was spent down the street at my grandma's house. My grandfather was a self-made businessman, owned a small potato chip factory that made potato chips for the local colleges, schools, and hospitals and institutions and things. He retired early, and I used to go over there and hang out. He liked to create things and invent things, and my dad likes to invent things, and so do I. So I think creativity comes from that side. And my mother has a problem. It's called narcissism. And I didn't know what it was called until about 2 years ago. All I know is my childhood was different. My mom was not like June Cleaver on TV or, and when people say, "Don't you love your mom?" Well, I guess you have to, but I just don't feel it. And people think that's terrible. But the way I was treated, as if I didn't matter, I had no self-esteem, and I was never allowed to do anything, never allowed to have friends, never allowed to do this or that. "I'll be no good, you'll be no good, you'll never amount to anything, blah, blah, blah." I heard that all the time. I could not wait to get out from under her roof. So when I turned 21, I left, and I ended up moving in with the guy that I ended up marrying, who was also narcissistic. So, and I was married to him, and he was very abusive as well. He was very abusive, physically, emotionally, verbally. Called me a stupid fat C word every single day. Made me get on the hands and knees and clean the floor and kick me in the tailbone, and never allowed me to sit down. The only time I was allowed to sit down was breakfast on Saturday mornings at the table. I'm the one that worked. He never worked. Well, he rarely worked. He worked a couple jobs but got fired because he was always up to something. It's always what can you do for me type of attitude. So I'm terribly aware of what narcissism is, and now that I know it has a name and I know how to deal with it, it's a lot better. But can you understand how a person could be depressed? I was on antidepressants for a long time, but I don't like the relying on pills and stuff like that. Like the American big pharmaceutical companies seem to run the healthcare business. I don't like that. I like more holistic stuff. My beliefs, when I was a kid, I was raised Lutheran, which is a Protestant Christian religion. And I always had questions about other religions, and my mother was almost like I'd stabbed her when I asked her, well, what's the difference between this one and that one, you know? It was just terrible. Well, now that I'm older and I can look into all of it myself, I do. But I used to even be a Bible thumper. I'd go around telling people, you know, how they were wrong, and I'd spout Bible verses and stuff. No wonder no one liked me. Until I sat and I watched people come out of church and they were holier than thou in church, and they came out and yelled at their kids and stuff like that, and they were only in church to show off their new clothes. Wait a minute, there's incongruities here. It's hypocritical and it's not cool. So basically, I find it hard to be in an organized religion. I can't subscribe to it. I raised my kids knowing about Christianity, and we did go to church so that they at least knew what everyone else was talking about. And I said, when you're grown up, you can make your own decision, which they have. And that's fine. That's good. I like intelligence. Intelligence really turns me on. I've always been kind of a nerd, and I wanted to be so accepted by people when I was a kid, but I never was. Now I don't care. I'm me, and I'm proud of it. And I know how to do lots of stuff because I've had to do all the stuff myself. When I was a kid, I wanted to be maybe an architect, maybe an archaeologist, or an actor. Got stuck in the A's, you see. There was a big mirror on my bedroom door. When the door was closed, it was a very small hallway between the bedrooms. But when the door was closed, you could stand in the hall and, you know, see if you were dressed properly. I used to sit in front of that mirror for hours and hours and hours and talk and talk and talk and interview imaginary actors and actresses. Yeah. I like theater. Theater is a very good way to escape for an hour or two and be someone else. All your troubles you take, instead of doing drugs or alcohol, put yourself in another character. It's a lot better for you, and just removes you from yourself, but then it doesn't harm you. So I like theater a lot. I do character roles because I'm not the average size person. When I was a kid, I was the tallest girl in school and the skinniest. And I had brown hair, and I was the skinniest kid in school. I was always the skinniest, even in high school. You could see my hip bones and my collarbone. I look like those weird models that walk down the runway. There's nothing but skin and bones. And yeah, I have tried committing suicide a few times. Once walking on the highway, once taking all the aspirin I could find, and it's like the life will go on without you. It's like hit you in the face, like nobody cares. But now I have 2 sons. They could go on without me, but I love them and I want to be around for a little while. But I'm not afraid, because death is the absence of everything, and it's It's like Jesus said, or like a lot of wise men said, it's nothing and it's everything. So, it's cool. I'm not afraid. Presently, I'm getting older. This year, I am old. Can't do what I used to be able to do. My back is starting to kick up nasty old things again. Years ago, the doctor said with each subsequent child you have, you will damage your back further. So I've had 2 sons. And if I would have had more, I probably wouldn't be able to walk. And my back is reverting back to a bunch of nastiness. But, yeah, I rely on home remedies and holistic stuff, and it's not easy being happy. Being miserable and negative all the time is what I was very used to, but that's what I was used to, you know. I was always told that I couldn't do things, wouldn't amount to anything. So it's not easy pulling yourself up from the ground, but I'm trying. I think most everything else anyone can see on a video they already know about me. Yeah, I'm goofy. I am a Jeopardy master. Master of disaster. I know all the answers, or almost all the answers, and I don't know how I know them. It's almost like the universe speaks to me and tells me. My brother calls me Rain Man, like the idiot savant in the movie. Dustin Hoffman plays this guy who's on the autistic scale that has incredible talent for counting and numbers. And I just... trivia master. Only certain things, though. So, who knows? Yeah, there's a lot of pet peeves and a lot of things that bother me, but I mean, we're all pretty much... We're all here on the earth. We try to take care of each other, try to take care of the earth. That's what you should do, but not everyone does it. So instead of getting up on the soapbox any further, I'll leave now. So that's more about me than you ever wanted to know, probably. If anyone really wants to know anything, you can ask me. Perhaps I'll tell you. I probably will. Upward and onward.